Sai Ram. In the last Parayanam session, I had mentioned about the foundation stone laying ceremony of the Brindavan Hostel, the Walter Cohen block of the Brindavan Hostel. So the construction started. There was a big tank, and next to this tank, at the surface, on the ground level, there were two huge trees which had to be pulled down. And the engineer in charge, Mr. Brigadier Bose, his name was, he had been the director of the IIT Kharagpur, and he was the person to whom Swami entrusted this task of building the hostel. A wonderful gentleman, so dedicated. Every single day, early in the morning at 7:30, he would be there with his umbrella, standing there physically and supervising the work. Whole day he would stand there and do. And I remember that there were these two big trees, and he was pleading with Swami, Swami, these trees have to be cut, and please get it cut. And Swami said, yes, we'll do it. And Swami kept on waiting for some time, for something. And I remember one particular day, it was a Sunday. As Swami was going for darshan, Swami just looked at all of us and said, those two trees have to be brought down. Swami was going for darshan, and by the time Swami returned from darshan, both the trees were down, and the engineer was flabbergasted. He had thought it would take so much time, but we just pulled it down. When you have the Lord's name on your lips, and when you're doing his karyam, when you're doing the activity dedicated to him, everything happens quick and fast. And so this is what happened that day. And as the hostel building progressed, Swami would come early in the morning. In fact, Swami had told devotees, don't come for darshan on days other than Sundays and Thursdays, because the construction has to go on fast. And in spite of that, there would be devotees who would come and try to snatch at darshan, have a glimpse. And so Swami started coming early in the morning. 5:45 or 6, Swami would come. Even then, there would be some enterprising young men who would climb on the trees outside and have a peep above the compound wall to have Swami's darshan. Remember very interesting experiences like this. And Swami would then come into the hostel. He would come and peep into the kitchen. He would look at the breakfast as it was being prepared and insist on sampling those, and he would give his comment saying it was spicy or it was too bland and so on. So the cooks were all very delighted. In fact, our cook, Sri Ramarao Garu, who was there, he passed away just a few years back at the age of 100. He had worked tirelessly when we were there in the hostel, and he had taken so much of care. He was very dedicated to Swami. The other gentleman, Mr. Nair, who joined him later, also had the same kind of dedication. He also lived to be in his 90s. They led a very comfortable life. In fact, Ramarao ji had come for the Golden Jubilee celebrations of Brindavan College in June of 2019. I remember at that time he was late 90s, but he made it a point to come because he wanted to be present. All the people who were associated with the college, from the watchmen to the professors to the assistant professors, everyone had been felicitated on that occasion, and he made it a point to be physically present even though it was so difficult for him to travel. This is the kind of love and the bond that we developed towards Swami's college and Swami's hostel. And so the construction was going on, and the month of May had come and a month of April had come. Exams had got over. Swami insisted that all of us should go home for the vacations. Now, some of us were from Bangalore city, and with a lot of prayer, we approached Swami and somehow tried to get permission to come on Thursdays and Sundays for darshan, and slowly we extended it and made it a daily exercise. We would come off to Brindavan early in the morning and go back only in the night. For us, that was the best holiday we could ever imagine. In those days, another thing that used to happen is when the hostel was in session, we would also take whatever was made for boys, we would take to the mandir. And two of us would take for each session. We would take breakfast to Swami or lunch, and then dinner we would take from the hostel. Devotees also would bring, some chosen devotees were given the most wonderful privilege of cooking things for Swami, because Swami ate very less, but he always insisted that guests, the elders should be there, they should be fed properly, and Swami would peck at the food. He would eat so little of it but all the others he would ensure that all the others ate properly. And these boys who took the carrier to Swami from the hostel, Swami would ensure that they were also made to sit. After all Swami had his food and the guests had all, Swami had sent them for their work or wherever it was, Swami would insist that these boys also sit at the table and eat. We would sit around Swami and eat, and Swami himself would personally serve. He would make sure we eat properly. So these are all some privileges which are extraordinary blessings of Bhagawan, which we used to get those days. So as it was happening, the month of April and the holidays, as I mentioned, came, and somehow we got permission to come. Now we saw that Swami was sitting near the Krishna pond inside Brindavan. That is right in front of Thai today. And the warden was standing next to Swami, and Swami was ticking in some list and so on. We didn't know what this was for. And Swami came to me one day and asked, "Nikemana letter ochinda? Did you get any letter?" So when I went home, I asked my sisters and my father. No letter had come for me. And Swami asked this for 3 or 4 days. And on the 4th day, when I went home and asked, there was pin drop silence, because a letter had indeed come. And the letter was from the warden. The warden had written that Swami has instructed me to tell you that you are expelled from the hostel because you talk too much. Swami is very particular about the discipline of silence, and so you are expelled immediately from the hostel. So my name was removed from the rolls. And so the next day I was at Brindavan, and in tears, Swami came to me and asked, "Did you get the letter?" And my tears answered the question, and I fell at Swami's feet and prayed. And Swami said, "Okay, I'll give you one more chance, one last chance. You should talk less," because he said, if you talk less, then your memory will be good. If you talk less, people in society will respect you. If you talk more, the battery will get exhausted. Like in a radio, you put a battery or connect it to a source of power. In those days, we used to have these transistors which would work on battery. So Swami said, if the battery gets drained fast, if you keep on using the transistor or radio. Similarly, if you keep on chattering, your mental power will decrease, and that's why I insist that you should talk less. As Swami used to say, silence is the language of the spiritual seeker. So talk less, Swami said, and talk only when it is necessary, and talk softly. Do not yell or scream. Talk gently, talk sweetly. These were some things that Swami used to always keep on telling us. And now Swami said, "Okay, one last chance I will give you. You should talk less." And I promised Swami that I would do that, and went back, having escaped by the skin of my teeth from being thrown out of the hostel. My father and sisters are also prayed very fervently that I should be taken back, and they are also very happy to hear that I was taken back into the hostel, given a new lease of life in the hostel. After about 4 or 5 days, again Swami came to me and asked, "Nik letter ochinda?" And I said, oh my God, what is this new transgression that I have done which has attracted Swami's attention? And when I went home, there was no letter. It was a bit of a suspense for the next couple of days. And then the letter did come. In that letter, the warden had written, "Swami has selected you to take part in the summer course in Ooty." Summer courses have always been held in Brindavan in those days. In Swami's physical presence, the summer courses would always be held in Brindavan, starting from the year 1972. Brindavan has been the home for the summer courses. In those days, students would come from all over the country. They would be selected by some exam, and representatives from each state would come and take part. And of course, the students of the Sathya Sai College also would take part in the summer courses. And the summer courses in the 70s were for 1 month duration. So Swami decided that the summer vacation was the best time when the attention of youth could be caught, and it was a time when they would be given a dose of Indian culture and spirituality, and great experts in the field, literature and spirituality would come. People who are very well read in philosophy and people who are very experienced in the affairs of the world, they were all brought, and they would educate these children on the glories of Bharatiya culture, which we have lost touch with, having been under the foreign yoke for a couple of centuries. So Swami had to make sure that the youth is now re-energized and re-infused with the spirit of Bharat, and therefore these people would speak on spiritual topics and about the scriptures, Ramayana, Mahabharata, the Upanishads, and the 10 principal Upanishads, and the 6 darshanas or perspectives with which you look at life, and the various philosophies of Indian culture, like that. All these, and naturally the crest jewel of this whole thing would be Swami's discourse every evening. Swami would give a discourse. In fact, the summer course schedule was quite tight during those days. When it started, they would have Suprabhatam at 5 in the morning. Then they would go into the villages nearby and singing Swami's bhajans, and they would return to Brindavan for Swami's darshan. Swami would come onto the balcony. Incidentally, it was during these balcony darshans that many of us have had a vision of Swami's aura. Many people have told me this. I have also had the good fortune of seeing Swami's aura when Swami gave darshan. That we used to call that Vishwarupa darshan that Swami used to give. So after that, there would be a yogasana class. I remember one year, Srimati Indra Devi, who was considered as an expert in yoga, had come to teach us yogasanas. It was a beautiful experience. And then we would have lectures. There would be 4 lectures in the morning, 4 lectures in the afternoon, and all of them were heavy stuff. Heavy. And it was a marvel that students could sit through the whole thing. But all of us were waiting for the evening function. Bhagawan would choose some theme. It would be either Bhajagovindam, or it would be Ramayana, Mahabharata, or Bhagavad Gita. Every year Swami would pick up one theme and he would elaborate on this. And these were the fantastic sessions. This was literally a spiritual banquet which was laid in front of us. And today, a lot of the office bearers of the Sathya Sai organizations are students of Sathya Sai Institute, or those who have come up in Bal Vikas, or those who have attended the summer courses which were held in those years in Swami's presence. More about this in the next Parayanam session. Sai Ram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय.